Hey you, before the video starts, consider dropping a like, a comment, and maybe consider subscribing. This really does help the channel grow. On to the video. Hey guys, it's Mane here. In today's video, I wanted to go over some posts that were made in the future content blog of the Idleon Discord and just kind of talk about what Lava has recently posted. I'll add a graphic here showing what he said and go over it with my thoughts. So he says, public service announcement, the Gloomy Mushrooms will be dropping the new Villager statue instead of Dragon Warrior. A new cavern in the next update will be dropping the Dragon Warrior statue. Your Dragon Warrior statue levels will turn into Villager statue levels, as Dragon Warrior statues will be harder to get and Villager statues easier. This may be the first time I've done a stat switch like this. I doubt I'll ever do one again, and if so, not for another 3 years. But I figured just this one time it made sense. Below that, he further says, public service announcement, the new monsters from a new cavern will also drop these. They are not ice creams, they are torches. This may be the first time I've added a torch that resembles a fancy ice cream. I doubt I'll ever add one again, but I figured just this one time. Okay, so first of all, I think this is a terrible idea, and let me tell you why. To start off, the Dragon Warrior statues is indeed powerful. It is the most powerful statue in the game, and it's hard to really give you an idea how powerful it truly is if you're not an endgamer. Here's a list of stats it effectively provides, as it can effectively double all statue bonuses, more than double all statue bonuses depending how high of a level it is. It gives you more base damage, move speed, mining power, more boost food effect or more food effect, more health, more crit damage, more chopping power, more base defense, more fishing power, catching power, class EXP, production speed, alchemy EXP, crit chance, which who cares about that right now, accuracy, trapping power, worship power, skill EXP, construction EXP, cash percent, cooking EXP, breeding EXP, total damage, divinity EXP, sailing speed, farming EXP, stealth percent, and white essence gain. Those are all the bonuses from all the statues. And like I said, it effectively can more than double those statue bonuses. To give you perspective on how powerful some of these statues are on their own, the scaling power statues make up almost a majority of my current prints. If the change is implemented as is, I cannot catch up to my previous print power post update. It will not be possible at this time. I also would not have been able to reach level 200 divinity in all my characters, and my previous advice for endgamers about grinding divinity levels to plus 18 minimum talent levels is less possible and may take extra days to weeks of grinding to get it done in the future. However, that's not the reason I'm particularly upset about this change. There are 3 main reasons, and let me preface this by saying I understand nerfs can happen and they are healthy for the game. So let's discuss why this is really a problem. Number 1, all of the effort that went into grinding these statues initially is now gone. There's a disparity between all statue bonus and what we assume to be villager EXP. Now we don't truly know what the villager statue will give, but for it to be comparable in power to Dragon Warrior statue, it has to be something like monument bonus, like monument multiplier or villager bonus. Villager EXP is such an underwhelming, still good though, bonus in terms of power, but it cannot compete to all statue bonus. Now, why is this a problem? If it were Villager EXP from the start, I can guarantee you that no one would have put this much effort into promoting the importance of pushing the statue to 150 to 200, nor it being close to a meta strategy. It simply does not provide you the power for your whole account, as does the Dragon Warrior statue currently. It would have been more like, well, you could do it if you want, but it doesn't really matter. This makes the previous effort of grinding the statue kind of fruitless and does rob us player of the hours we spent in grinding it. The second reason is that it sets a bad precedence. Like he said, this is one of the only times he remembers doing this, but quote, it made sense, and he didn't elaborate further at all. Why did this make sense, Lava? We can assume and guess as to why he did it, but we truly do not know why he was motivated to do it. Lack of communication has been such a big problem for Lava, and I have always been a big proponent of him needing to talk to us more as a player base. This just continues the lack of communication and lack of forethought, really, that Lava has introduced into the game, and it's kind of disappointing at this point. The third reason is that it could potentially be a disastrous change if he does what I think he's going to do. So notice how he says he moved the drop to a new cavern biome. Okay, so we need to refarm it. No big deal. However, if it's implemented as it is right now, who cares? Just refarm it. But no, that won't happen. He specifically says the Dragon Warrior statues will be harder to get. So that might mean he will reduce the drop rate from 1 in 100,000 to something worse. Okay, That's still fine. I understand the nerf, and I'm all for it, trust me. However, the post below is where I enter doomer status. Quote, the new monsters from a new cavern will also drop these. I think he's aiming to get rid of the ability to multi-kill the statues for both Gloomies and this new cavern. This change will be disastrous to onyxing the statue and trying to farm it post-onyx. Why? Because right now it's easy to get some 300 to 400 statues in a few hours grind on one character. If multi-kill is gone, that number drops to single digits. This would mean it could take weeks, months, even years to onyx the statue, depending on your drop rate. If you take into consideration, he's also nuking the drop chance of the statue, or at least it seems like he's going to do that. This is a classic example of double nerfing and the problem it presents. This could absolutely kill any potential at farming the statue and getting it anywhere near pre-change levels. I speculate this is intentional, however, I cannot underestimate how much of a nerf this could pose, and could potentially mean that the statue will practically not exist in anyone's account in any meaningful fashion. If the drop rate stays and multi-kill is gone, then you'll be dropping one statue roughly every 1600 true kills on the new monster at 60x drop rate, whereas before you'd be getting roughly 300 to 600 that amount. The grind's going to be completely and painfully slow. I'm urging Lava to reconsider this change, reconsider double nerfing the statue drop rate, and instead just nerfing the numbers of the statue. Almost any reasonable player can agree that the statue is incredibly powerful. However, it does not warrant prosecution from The Hague for war crimes. And I did say 3 reasons, but really there's 4. There's another reason here that's kind of disappointing and kind of points to a problem that's been around since the inception of Idleon. I don't think Lava truly had the foresight to understand the power and impact the Dragon Warrior statue would have, and I don't even think he understood that multi-kill would affect the new statue, or rather the Dragon Warrior statue initially, because this change, the Dragon Warrior statue has been out for months at this point, and he's just now deciding to make a change to it. Again, that's 4 months of effort and planning of endgame accounts, and all of a sudden there's a change. It's just, again, kind of disappointing. Anyways, as a thank you, here's a little compilation of me crashing out on stream. Have a great time watching this. This is awful. So the reason we have high level of Dragon Warrior statue is because it is the first item in the drop pool. What does that mean? Think back to World 3 when this mechanic was introduced. What does first item in the drop tool, in the drop table mean? Multi-kill. So if he adds torches and they replace it as the first item in the drop table, that means you cannot do multi-kill on Dragon Warrior statues anymore. Which means you can't farm 300-400 statues in a single 4-hour session on a character, which means even getting to 20k is going to be a hundreds of hour grind. So getting to level 200 Dragon Warrior statue is going to be absolutely mind-bogglingly hard. I don't want to say impossible, but it is such a nerf. It is such an incredible nerf to Dragon Warrior statue that it's going to absolutely nuke everything about an endgamer's account. If he does what I think he's going to do and remove Dragon Warrior statue from multi-killable, like the ability to multi-kill and drop all this, and he does a double nerf of increasing the drop rate, then it's going to be practically impossible to get this to Onyx. You say 200, I mean level 200, getting it to level 200, because right now level 200 is feasible, it's achievable, it's still a hard grind to do, it's possible, because right now you can multi-kill it and it's only a 1 in 100,000 drop rate, which for endgamers is not that hard. Even if you're like fresh World 6, 1 in 100,000 is not daunting. You got 50-60,000 statues off of 8 AFKers. Yes, but divide that by 650 or something like that. So 60,000 off of 8 characters, divide by like 650. You're gonna get roughly like 92 statues off of your 8 characters, or 65, whatever it is. It's, guys, instead of getting, okay, assuming you're not as high drop rate as that, say you're like 20-30x drop rate, and it's like you get like 20,000 statues off of 8 characters. You divide that by what? It's like 400 x multi-kill. You're gonna get 50 statues. You're gonna get 50 statues a day off of 8 characters AFK at the cavern. Let's pull up another calculator. 20,000 statues for Onyx divided by 50. 400 days. 400 days to Onyx this. And this is also assuming he doesn't re-nerf the drop rate on this. If it's not 1 in 100,000 and it's worse than that, it's gonna take you probably, it's literally making it 1 million instead of 100,000. It's gonna make this 4,000 days. What's happening? We're currently crashing out about Dragon Warrior statue getting nerfed and moved into a different drop table. And also, not to mention, this is, okay, guys, when did the cavern update? I can't even, cavern. When did the cavern update drop? November 7. A week later is when some of the endgamers were in Cavern 9. 2 weeks later, more people started to get there. 3 weeks later, okay, assume that everyone's, a decent chunk of the player base are finally at Cavern 9 in like a month and a half. It's like mid-December, Christmas time. We're in fucking March. We're in March, guys. Yes, you should farm out Dragon Warrior statues. That's the thing. So that's also the thing. If you farm out Dragon Warrior statues, you're not gonna have Dragon Warrior statues by the time the update comes out. It's gonna turn into villager statues. So even if you farm out Dragon Warrior statues right now, they won't be Dragon Warrior statues when the update comes out. They're gonna change to villager. So you can't pre-farm Dragon Warrior statues. They're gone until you get to Cavern 14 or 15, whatever it is. Isn't that minus? No, because you can drop it at the new cavern up, whatever it is, so you can still drop Dragon Warrior statues. So it's still an item. It still exists in the game. It just moved to a lower cavern level. He's nerfing the drop rate. I haven't heard any endgamers quitting Idleon. They're all just rushing to resample before Dragon gets nuked out of orbit. The thing is, so obviously reprinting is really important right now for endgamers, because if you have high level of Dragon Warrior statue, it's necessary to reprint right now. Because I think the only thing that's going to come out of the new update is probably the increase to chopping prince, because that's the new monument, and we're going to get a lot of chopping efficiency. So I can imagine maybe getting higher log prints, but like I said, with an 8,000 chopping power decrease, but the fact, this was such a large oversight by Lava for such a long time that it became a norm in Idleon, and we kind of expect the endgame to look like this because of that statue. So the fact that he is switching where it drops, how it drops, and how often it drops is a like triple stack nerf that's gonna absolutely obliterate statue farming Dragon Warrior. It's going to be, yeah, it's a massive ladder pull for people who haven't taken advantage out. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, guys, I had the boost food effect alone. I got 3 trillion green souls from. I'm not going to approach that number for months unless he decides to increase some other boost food effect or anything like that. If your suspicions are correct, it seems like an overnerf. That's the thing. I fully expect Lava to overnerf this and not understand the full ramifications of what he's doing, because it's one thing to decrease the drop rate of it, right? I'd be fine doing that. I'd be fine if he increased the drop rate to like 1 in a million, right? Because it's still a nerf. It completes his objective of not wanting to be that strong. But the fact he's also potentially moving it from the first item of the drop table is going to completely obliterate the possibility of anyone getting it Onyx anytime soon. I think the next big thing you want to do is anyways, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end. If you were on Saturday's stream, you know I was really heated about this subject. If you know, you know. Comment down below what you think of this change. I really do want to hear you guys' opinions. I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a great day. Bye. Hey guys, thank you so much if you do support me on YouTube and or Twitch. I really appreciate your support. Have a great day. Bye.